Well, this is Ed Cardinal. Welcome to my Facebook Live. Sorry about that. I tried to record this live through Zoom because I'm hoping to at some point bring on guests live, and obviously I have to try to figure that out because there was a pretty long delay, and there's no way I would have been able to focus on what I was saying and what I was hearing. So I had to come out and I'm doing this right through Facebook. Tonight's topic is grief, and in particular, men in grief. As we all know, grief is inevitable. We all have had to deal with it, and if we haven't, we're going to have to deal with it. I've learned some great lessons and have been taught some great lessons by people about grief. First, I'll talk about a death experience, and this is with Jude's mom. She was a pretty amazing woman, and she chose when she wanted to die. She said, "I want to go home." And we were able to be a part of that process with her. We got her home to Jude's sister, youngest sister, who she was living with at the time. Got her home on a Wednesday. And incredibly, she lived until early Sunday morning. And during that process, I was able to, because of my physical therapy background, I was able to be a part of her care along with her, Jude and her sisters. And to be a part of that, for me, we see, particularly in our culture, death as a negative thing. There's other cultures who revere it, see it as a transition, just like birth. And I was able to be a part of that, and I saw the beauty of it in the death of Jude's mom. And there's one particular thing that happened during that time that I want to share about, because it helped me to look at my own views of death and how it should be experienced by loved ones, and how I believe her mom chose to have her children and her family experience her death. On Saturday, they had a family gathering at the house. Jude's half Filipino, and their gatherings are quite large. Christmases can be between 40 to 50 people. So the house was full of people. It was like a holiday family gathering. And at one point, I had to run out to do an errand, and I was thinking to myself, should we be doing this? Is this right? And the more I thought about it, it's exactly the way it should have been done and the way it was done. And that's the way Jude's mom wanted it. She actually waited till after that gathering on Saturday and early Sunday morning to transition. But it was wonderful to be a part of this this celebration, and I'm sure her mom could hear what was going on in the other room. People eating, just like any other holiday gathering. Some of the cousins were there saying prayers with Jude's mom. So it was just a special occasion and a special process for me to be a part of it. It helped me to look at death in a completely different way, and it was a gift her mom gave to all of us. And the second situation that I've had to deal with regarding grief, and grief is not only around death, it's divorce, maybe a loss of job, was the ending of my marriage in 2003. I chose to end that marriage, and just because I chose to end it didn't mean it wasn't a loss for me. And I knew that I had to deal with the grief. And because if I didn't, I was going to take it with me wherever I went. It was going to be baggage that I carried with me. So what I did is I set up, and I believe I shared about this in a previous Facebook Live. I set up my support network, my brother and my good friend Ron, and I told them I was going to be reaching out to them for support. I also sought the help of a therapist. I am so happy that I did that because it helped me actually prepare for my next relationship, which is with Jude. I didn't have to bring the baggage of that grief of that relationship with me. I'm not going to say it was easy. There were moments, I remember one particular moment when I fell onto the floor, experienced the deepest feeling of grief that I've ever experienced. And it could also have been unresolved grief from other situations in my life. But it was very cathartic, but very, very painful. But I was able to release it through, I cried. I cried pretty intensely. But I felt much better after. So why is it that most men struggle with grief? And it's not only men that struggle with grief, but I'm going to focus on men in this Facebook Live because that's my mission, to help men get healthier. I recently read an article, and it was by Rick Belden about men in grief. And what he said was male grief is often invisible and misunderstood, which leaves many men to deal with it on their own, if they deal with it at all. And it also leads to loneliness. The messages that we received as young boys, as adolescents, from the lack of support, from the lack of positive role models, is that you're on your own, just deal with it. And that is such a damaging message, because during the times of grief, we need the support, which I set up for myself, and it was so helpful to be able to talk about it, to be able to cry. Something else that Rick said, I'm looking at my notes here, most men reject vital aspects of themselves and their histories because they do not want or know how to feel and move through grief. Men fear of being vulnerable, of expressing grief for the lack of being shamed. So again, men have difficulties dealing with a lot of emotions and feelings and expressing them because of the way we're socialized, but grief is one in particular that they really have a difficult time dealing with. And it's very damaging to their mental health and their physical health. So there's 7 stages of grief. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is pretty famous for, she had 5 stages of grief. There's been some added. And they are shock, denial, anger, bargaining, guilt, depression, and acceptance. If we move through these stages, that final stage is acceptance, we might be at different stages at different times. The keys to remember about dealing with grief, and this is an important aspect of dealing with grief, is face it, talk about it, and cry about it. And talking about it and crying about it are difficult for most men. A lot of men, they will express things that they're dealing with through physical activity. And for me, I do talk about it, I do cry about it, but my running has always been therapeutic to me. So that's a good way to release some of that that energy that's built up through grief and through other trauma or other emotions in my body. It's a good way to kind of blow it off the nervous system, and then helps to be able to then opens the door to be able to then talk about it and express it in healthy ways. So expressing emotions, it's okay to verbalize, it's okay to cry. It's also normal to feel traumatized by these events that cause the grief and the loss. And people grieve at different rates. There's no set time for when the grieving process is complete, and it might not ever be complete. You might always have some component of it in you, but be patient with yourself and be patient with others who are dealing with grief. The timetable is different for everyone, and how they deal with it might be different for everyone. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please like or comment below, and until I see you next week, have a great rest of your week, great weekend, and have a great night. Take care. Bye-bye.